Chris Washington is a black photographer from Brooklyn, New York, preparing for a weekend visit to upstate New York to meet the family of his white girlfriend, Rose Armitage. Hesitant, he asks Rose if her family knows about their interracial relationship, but she assures him that they are not racist. While there, Rose's brother Jeremy and their parents, neurosurgeon Dean and hypnotherapist Missy, make disconcerting comments about black people, and Chris witnesses strange behavior from the estate's black housekeeper Georgina and groundskeeper Walter. One night, Missy pressures Chris into a hypnotherapy session to cure his smoking addiction. While in a trance, he confesses that his mother was killed in a hit-and-run when he was a child and that he feels responsible for her death as he waited too long to call for help. He then enters a void Missy calls the sunken place. The next morning, he assumes that the encounter was a dream until Walter acknowledges their brief session the night before. However, he is pleased to discover that the hypnosis was a success as he no longer feels a desire to smoke. Dozens of wealthy white people arrive for the Armitages' annual get-together and express admiration for Chris's physique and for black figures such as Tiger Woods. Jim Hudson, an art dealer who has gone blind in his old age, takes a particular interest in Chris's photography skills. Chris meets another black man, Logan King, who behaves strangely and is married to a much older white woman. Chris relays the information to his friend, TSA officer Rod Williams. Chris tries to photograph Logan inconspicuously, but when his flash goes off, Logan becomes hysterical, shouting at Chris to get out. The others restrain him, and Dean later claims that Logan had an epileptic seizure. Away from the party, Chris tells Rose that they should leave. Meanwhile, the party guests hold a silent auction with Chris as the prize, with Jim making the winning bid. Rod recognizes Logan as Andre Hayworth, a missing man from Brooklyn. Suspecting a conspiracy, Rod tries to tell the police, but his claims are dismissed. While Chris packs to leave, he finds photos of Rose in prior relationships with several black partners, including Walter and Georgina, contradicting her earlier claim that Chris is the first black person she has dated. He tries to leave the house, but Rose and her family lock him in. Chris attacks Jeremy, but Missy uses a trigger that she implanted during his hypnosis, knocking him out. Chris awakens strapped to a chair in the basement. In a video presentation, Rose's grandfather Roman explains that the family transplants people's brains into others' bodies, granting them preferred physical characteristics and a twisted form of immortality. The host's consciousness remains in the sunken place, alive but powerless. The video then connects to a feed of Jim, speaking with Chris through an intercom. Jim says that although the Armitages target mainly black people, he doesn't care about Chris's race. He only wants his eyesight. Missy performs hypnosis, seemingly knocking Chris out. When Jeremy comes to fetch Chris for the surgery, it is revealed that Chris blocked the hypnosis trigger by plugging his ears with cotton stuffing pulled from the chair. Chris bludgeons Jeremy unconscious with a box ball and heads to the operating room where Dean is about to perform the surgery, replacing Jim's body with Chris's. Chris impales Dean with the antlers of a deer mount, knocking over a candle which sets fire to the operating room with an anesthetized Jim inside. Missy attacks Chris in the kitchen, but he stabs and kills her and is then attacked again by Jeremy as he heads towards the door. He overpowers and kills Jeremy before leaving in the latter's car. On the way out, he hits Georgina, who is revealed to be possessed by Rose's grandmother, Marianne, and knocks her unconscious. Compelled by guilt from his mother's death, he decides to carry her into the car, but she awakens and attacks him. In the ensuing struggle, the car crashes and Georgina is killed. An armed Rose apprehends Chris with Walter, who is possessed by Roman. Chris uses the flash on his phone to neutralize Roman, allowing Walter to regain control of his body. Walter takes Rose's rifle and shoots her in the stomach before shooting himself. Chris begins to strangle Rose, but he finds himself unable to kill her. Police sirens approach, and Rose cries out for help. However, the driver is revealed to be Rod, who drives away with Chris as Rose is left bleeding out on the road.